So it has a brew. It's actually in a completely different mug today. It's in a Land Rover Experience mug because I was looking for a hot chocolate mug the other day, and I found this mug, which I bought for my dad, I don't know, ages ago. It was a Christmas present, and he reckoned it was broken, and it wasn't broken, so I've decided that I'm going to now use it instead. And it's actually quite a nice mug. It's quite nice and big, because I couldn't really be bothered to dig out any Sports Direct mugs, which I've had in storage. So I finally got myself a Tascam DR40, which means I can test my Rode reporter, which is what you can hear now, which is the mic I'm going to take to EGX with me, Eurogamer, which is going to be fantastic. So finally that's all coming, that's all set up and fine. It's not the greatest mic in the world. It does sound a bit shit in that it doesn't seem to provide much great low end, and it just makes me sound a little bit muffled, which is a bit bizarre. But we'll go with it, see how it goes, and we'll kind of go from there. The other mic I've picked up, which is this one, is the Samsung Q7, which was 20 quid on eBay. I picked it up because it was stupidly cheap, and that's pretty much it. This is going to be my backup mic for Eurogamer, just in case I need to have maybe a bit of a collab with somebody and I can't cue the mic or something, or the other mic fails, or I find that actually it's no good for a huge conference hall because it doesn't cancel out sound well enough. But I'm going to give this a go and see how well it sounds like. I'm not going to do any post on it, but you can go and just get a rough idea what it's like. I'm going to do a bit of a video on sort of both mics, I think, a review perhaps at some point, and kind of go from there. At some point I'll also have to do a review of the DR40 because it's pretty good, although not as good as I was originally hoping it was going to be. The signals noise performance is a bit shit, and yeah. So there hasn't really been much in the way of news, but I'm going to try and attempt to kind of do a bit of a news thing that I've managed to discover over the week and actually over the past couple of days as well. Intel's 8-core Haswell-E chips are now out, and review sites are now picking them up. But they do cost $1,000, so they're quite expensive. Basically, Anantech and Engadget have got a bit of a roundup of it, although Engadget pretty much references what Anantech have pretty much said, so it's kind of their reference is pretty pointless. But basically, the new Haswell-E's are going to be i7. Well, the maximum, the highest spec one is an i7 5960X, which is 3 GHz, which is up to 3.5 GHz via some turbo boost thing, and 8 cores and 16 threads, which is amazing because Intel hasn't really created 8-core chips, or at least they haven't done for the desktop. That's always been the remit of AMD and things like that. Their older Ivy Bridge ones were sort of ran at faster clock speed, so the Ivy Bridge 5790K was a 4 GHz up to 4.4 with 4 cores and 8 threads, so that was the previous generation. But one of the great things with the new Haswell-E is it's going to support DDR4, but the downside is it's going to run you about 140 watts. And it's also going to cost you $1,000 US, which is a lot of money, probably about 650 quid, something like that. That's a lot of money to be laying down for, a CPU, unless you really, really need it for some unbeknownst reason. I don't really know why you would want one, unless you were doing video editing at 4K or something silly. I don't think there would be, but if you were doing that, you would have a Xeon chip instead, because it's better for video editing. So it's kind of like a bit over the top. I mean, it'll probably mean that you can run everything maxed out and everything will be fine and dandy, but yeah, it's kind of quite ridiculous. I mean, the clock speed being a bit lower is usually what happens when you add more cores. The clock speed is generally lower. You generally get better performance because you've got more cores to play with. But the trouble is, even in 2014, lots of stuff still doesn't take advantage of multi-core processing. So it's kind of pointless having all those cores there when realistically you're only going to really need 2. So yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, and if someone wants to send me one, I would be more than grateful. I would happily receive that, but that's probably not ever going to happen. Now, the Apple event's happening on the 9th, which is Tuesday next week. I didn't really want to talk about this because everybody and their uncle talks about it, and it's like the rumour mill starts going. And so I don't really want to be one of those people that adds to the kind of speculation and stuff and my thoughts, but I thought I would give it a go because people will be interested in it. It's something that people will ask me about and say, oh, why didn't you talk about so-and-so? So the Apple event is happening next week. Obviously, probably what's going to be released is a new iPhone to go with iOS 8. And possibly a smartwatch or something like that, because Apple do need to release something before Christmas. It probably also means maybe some updated iPods, maybe even a new updated iPad. Probably not, though, because we just had one of those. They might even release an updated version of the MacBook Air. They could do with doing so. They might release a newer version of, I don't know, a Mac Pro, perhaps. They might announce all sorts of stuff. I'm thinking more likely though it's going to be primarily things based on iPhone, so iPhone 6, and the potential smartwatch that they're going to bring out. I do need a new phone, and so I'm waiting for that event before I go out and buy a new phone. Because the trouble is, my Xperia Z is great, but the battery life on it is crap, and because with the official ROM you have got really crappy bugs with Google Play Store and Google Play services nicking all your battery life, I need to get a new phone that's going to last me all day and stuff. So I need to get a new phone, which possibly might be the HTC One M8 or it might be the iPhone 6 when that comes out, because I need something to take with me to Eurogamer and to the IP5 conference that isn't going to that's going to have decent battery life, which is what I need. I need it to last all day, or at least to attempt to last all day, and not to be dead by 10 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Apple comes out with. If they do indeed come out with a smartwatch, it'll be good, because we need a bit more rival than just the Android Wear stuff. Although the Android Wear stuff's good. I mean, LG just released their watch. That looks effing amazing. There are going to be some amazing watches coming out, I think, sort of over Christmas and in CES. When I go to CES, I'm really looking forward to seeing the wearable tech that's there. It's really, really going to be great. Some of you may have spied that I'm wearing a brand new Enigma tee, and actually it's effing amazing, because their previous t-shirts were a bit, well, the material they used on their shirts were a bit, they weren't necessarily cheap, but they were cheaper. They didn't feel like premium quality, and these new ones, they've got these tie-dye ones, effing great. They've got a little bit tighter fitting, although this is a large because I like shirts to be a bit looser, and the material feels really good, so you should go and check them out anyway. But they want to hook you guys up with a sweet 10% discount by using the discount code AZZY10. So if you go to their website, I'll do a redirect from azzychill.com/Enigma clothing, and I'll put a description, and I'll put the link in the description below, because I can't remember it off the top of my head and it's a bit long and it's a big cartel link, I think. But yeah, if you use the discount code AZZY10, you get 10% off your order, which is fantastic. Go and check them out. Really, really sweet bunch of guys. Make some really, really cool stuff. There's some really sweet stuff coming up in the next couple of months, things like that. There's a new Paisley shirt that's come out. They've pretty much run out of stock with that. I think they only had large in stock when I ordered, which is a bit annoying. But yes, you should go and check them out. So Alienware have decided to release their own kind of version of the Mac Pro. It looks effing great. It looks a bit weird, but it does look effing amazing. It's called the Area 51. It's running Haswell-E chips, which is the newest version of Haswell, which we just discussed earlier on. And it can support up to 3 months of GPU. So it's pretty much a Mac Pro, but obviously it's going to be a Windows PC, and it also means that because it's going to be a Windows PC, you can chuck in the most beastly graphics card you can possibly buy when it comes out. Whereas with the Mac Pro, you can only basically deal with what's proprietary to Apple. It's the same with things like CPUs and stuff like that, because I think I don't know what it's actually running Xeon. I think it's running like 2 physical Xeons in the Mac Pro. So it's probably going to be better for video editing. But with the Alienware, I mean, if you get the Haswell chips, you're probably going to find out that actually maybe video editing will be better. Not too sure, but it does look effing great. It's probably going to land you some ridiculous fee as well, but hey ho, there you go. MSN Messenger is officially dead. After October the 31st of this year, they're going to close down the last remaining element of MSN Messenger, which is in China at the moment, which is a bit of a sad day, really. I remember MSN back in the day was, well, it was great for a start, but it was just, I don't know, it was like for people of our generation, it was just great. There was it was great. It was a bit weird because you'd go to school, and then as opposed to like hanging around with the people you've just gone to school with, you'd go home and you'd sit on MSN Messenger talking to the same people you've just hung around in school with all day, and it was a bit weird. And then obviously Microsoft bought out. MSN sort of died to death, and then other things came along because smartphones weren't really a thing. You know, back in the day when MSN Messenger was around, WhatsApp didn't exist. Smartphones didn't really exist. I mean, smartphones are only really a thing that happened when I started uni, really. And so before then, all you really had was MSN Messenger, Facebook, which was it wasn't as popular then either, or Bebo. Bebo was the thing that people had. And Facebook, because Facebook is quite a new thing. Was it 2003, 2004? It might even been as late as 2005. But yeah, things like Facebook haven't been around that long, so And that was really the only way of communicating with people, apart from texting. And if you're down in Cornwall, then texting is pretty much null and void because you can't get any signal anywhere. Especially back then, it was really crap for networks and shit. Back in the days when BT Cellnet was still a thing, and you still had, who else was it 1-to-1? And there was a few. You had Orange. Orange still existed, but EE definitely didn't exist. 3 didn't exist. Who are the other people? Vodafone, I think, did, but in a kind of a different guise. And then BT Cellnet became O2, and yeah, that nostalgia basically. In other news, apart from the Tascam, I've also picked myself up a Gigabyte P15F, which is a fantastic laptop for the money. It isn't a fantastic laptop apart from that, because the trackpad's crap, and the screen's not that great, and yeah. But what it does have, it has something like an 850M in it, NVIDIA 850M, and it has an i7 in it. It's a full 4770 or something like that. It's a beastie machine anyway. And it also means I can render videos a hell of a lot faster than my desktop here, and also a hell of a lot faster than my MacBook Pro, MacBook Air even, and a hell of a lot faster than my Gigabyte Bricks. Because usually, if I render out a normal brew time, that takes it's usually about 20 minutes at 50 megabits a second, because you've got to do that because YouTube fucks around with the bitrate so much. It takes about 6 hours, maybe a little bit more than that. But on this, 2 hours, just about over, I don't know, like 2 hours 10 minutes or something stupid, which is fantastic, because that means that when I'm out and about, because the whole point of getting this was so that when I'm going to Eurogamer, I can edit things and render them, and they're rendered, then I can upload them either while I'm there at the event, which would be great if I can. If I can get access to some press resources, I will try and do that. But also, mostly it means I can render so that when I come home or when I go back to work, I can just literally upload it straight away. There's no fanning around, there's no waiting an entire day for the thing to render out, which is fantastic. I will still use my desktop to video edit primarily. If I'm out and about though, I will use the new Gigabyte P15F. It is a good laptop. Well, no, it's not a good laptop. It's a good laptop for the price. It's not a good laptop apart from that, really. The trackpad is crap, and yeah, and there's also some Windows 8.1 issues with it. It's a pain in the ass to update anything on it. There's some weird stuff going on, so I'm gonna have to investigate that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've got a few other bits of gear which I was going to show you all, but there was not really anything to write home about. But before I go, don't forget to check out Enigma Tees and get this sweet shirt, and use the discount code ASI10 to get 10% off your order. I am in no way sponsored by Enigma Tees. They just really want to get, they just want to really support the viewers of this, and they're really, really sweet brands, so I'm quite happy to provide them that free advertising anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm thinking I might do a Q&A at some point, maybe this week before the Apple event, but I'm not too sure. Let me know if you think that's a good idea, and if you do, maybe suggest some questions in the description, in the comments down below, and let me know any questions you've got, and I'll probably set up just an email, and I'll get something done so that you can kind of ask me any questions you've got. Don't forget the competition. No, that's wrong. By the time this video is uploaded and stuff, the competition will be over, and I will have already chosen the winners, and I will have contacted you, so that will have happened. I might do a bit of a special something afterwards, maybe a bit of a vlog to do with that, I'm not too sure, don't know. But yes, I think that's pretty much it. So apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video. I went out and bought myself a Nude Audio Move M because I needed a device to take with me when I'm going to go on holiday, when I'm going to stay in hotels, when I'm going to go to EGX, when I'm going to go to the IP5 conference. I can blast music out, really inexpensive, and it's going to give me decent quality audio whilst I'm out and about, whilst maybe I'm having a shower or whatever, getting ready in the morning.
Oh, my head is killing me.